Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit, and welcome to 15 Minutes of Game. Today we're going to be having a look at Reverse Crawl by Nerdook, and it promises to allow you to be the dungeon. So, as opposed to crawling through a dungeon and slaying monsters, you are the monsters trying to stop them from crawling through your dungeon. Appears to be a tactical battle game of sorts, turn-based, and its 15 minutes of game shall begin now. As you can see, I went through the first level to check the tutorials out, so that we can accelerate past that. So we've got a choice. Do we defeat the exiled mage, fight the goblins, or enter the tomb? I suppose we're going to go and fight the mage, shall we? There we go. You are the Revenant King, along with the princess, and you are able to summon different creatures to fight. So you get a bunch of cards here, and they will summon different kinds of enemy creatures, or I suppose friendly creatures now. You can re-roll your choices and your powers if you wish, so what do we want to do? Okay, so we're fighting Exiled Mage and Exiled Acolyte. How do we want to kill them? Probably in melee, I would imagine. What do we got that's good? Wraiths, maybe? That might not be a terrible idea, so Wraiths deal 50% of their melee damage to all adjacent enemies. They're immune to poison, and they are evil. They are so evil that you gain 3 additional threat when they are summoned. Threat is used to cast spells. Let's go with Wraiths to begin with, then. There we go. Oh, those Acolytes are basically clerics, then, I suppose. Okay, so we may have picked completely the wrong thing. So that's my threat down to the bottom there. I am able to use spells. I'm going to summon a skeletal warrior here, and then we're going to move over here and then try to chop the Acolyte into fine paste, if possible. Well, so it was supposed to be a pretty weak creature, but there we go. Flanking move took him out. They have summoned a homunculus by the looks of that. I don't like that one little bit. Now, you do have the ability to flank and do all that sort of thing. It's a very, very fast-paced turn-based battle game, as you will probably notice. I want to kill that Acolyte if possible. It's not quite dead yet, which is a little disappointing. I suppose we can magic missile it out of the way, perhaps, if we have enough threat. We actually don't have enough threat to do that yet, though, so there we go. It's dead. Good. Alright, now getting murdered by homunculi. You also are able to guard, and you can do a power strike, which is a bit of a risky move, but it lets you do a bunch of extra damage, assuming that you manage to pull it off correctly. I would really like to heal my Wraith, if possible. Can you actually heal a Wraith? Guess what? Oh, damn. That was currently selected minion. I'm an idiot. It's very very fast-paced. You're supposed to lose a wave and then you're able to summon another one. In fact, the cost of your stuff keeps going up until you are able to summon a new set of creatures. So we're probably going to lose these Wraiths, and that's actually fine. And you have a certain number of minion waves. I'm going to try a power strike and see if I can maybe kill them with it. Which we almost did. We got the AoE on it, and there we go, actually. There we go. Fantastic. Did it with a single wave, which is lovely. All the remaining threat is converted into XP at the end, and you can use it to unlock extra powers. So, new power, Homunculus, heal all. That sounds good. New power, Focus. Let's go with heal all. There we go. And I also unlocked a new type of enemy. So you can see the rewards that I've got there. Alright, let's dive right in, shall we? We are fighting the Red Queen. So we have 5 minion groups available here. We can actually bring along Greybeard now, because he's now one of our allies. Summon Greybeard and 2 Acolytes. Acolytes can heal all allies. Greybeard generates 1 threat each time he is activated and can gain powerful spells. I don't see any reason not to use that. Or you can actually summon yourself here, which is pretty good. We're gonna... There we go. The knight has skills that boost his damage and armor. Alright. So, preferably murder him. Sounds like a good idea. Let's see what we got. So my heal all is available. That's my Acolyte. I assume this guy has ranged abilities? Yes, he does. Pretty good ranged ability, too. I might eliminate that militia first, and then we'll try and deal with him. Okay, I'd like to get out of melee range, but it looks like I don't necessarily have the choice to do that. Let's throw a skeleton down, and we can smack him about a little bit and try and flank him from behind for extra damage. Alright, now Greybeard, maybe go somewhere else? Maybe not the worst idea you've ever had. There we go. Alright, never mind. So he's armoring up every time, which is a little stressful. You don't get to choose who you activate. It sort of just activates in order. So, but he's generating threat now, but I can't move backwards for some reason. I wonder if that's a part of this knight's function. I could summon a homunculus, so I can throw down... Ah, it teleports you to a random position. Neat. There we go. That's cool. So, I mean, so far, it's very, very basic. Like, it's really, really fast-paced. It doesn't really have a lot of complexity to it, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I get as you add more creatures in, as you add more abilities in, you add complexity that way. I would really like to have that. Can I murder him for that? I mean, it seems reasonable, right? Yeah, let's try and do that. Can I even hit him from here? It's a good question. So summon a homunculus, shall we? And then try and hit him from a distance. He now throws poison daggers. Not good. Hit him again with a magic missile. Not a bad little art style either. It's got its own... I mean, yeah, it looks very Newgrounds-esque. I think a lot of people are going to complain about that. Some people seem to have a real issue with games that look like they were made for Newgrounds or Congregate or something like that. It's like, oh, it's a Flash game. So, yeah, is it? I mean, it doesn't really matter, even if it is, you know, as long as the game plays well. But I think there's that expectation that games that look a certain way should be free, and it's a shame. Not everybody can make a game look absolutely incredible. Alright. Acolytes can heal, can't they? So we might want to be doing that. Did that heal everybody? I think it did. I'm going to throw down a heal of my own there as well. There we go. Seems to work fairly well. But I do appreciate the pace. Now, compared to some other turn-based games that I've played that just run incredibly slowly, it's actually kind of nice to play a game that runs really fast and is just about really quick tactical battles. I've got to say, though, like, the idea of being the dungeon, I suppose, is a really cool notion. But I'm not 100% sure if the game does a lot with that outside of theme yet. It's like, well, yeah, you know, you're using evil creatures to kill stuff. Yes, you are, but there's no real difference between using this and using, say, heroes. Now, it's really the same. It's all just an aesthetic choice. The idea of threat is something that could very easily just be heroism or focus or berserk or something like that. You know, it could be any of those things. I really should have probably killed that wizard first, shouldn't I? Looks like we're going to be summoning somebody new soon anyway, so it's not really a big deal. So it almost seems a bit tacked on in that regard. It's like almost a little bit of a gimmick to try and make the game stand out. But really, we're only in the first few battles, so maybe they will do a lot more with it later. I certainly hope that they will. Yeah, we're definitely going to lose this round, but that's fine. We've got plenty more. What shall we summon now? Flesh and Bones. 50% resistance to... we don't really... Actually, yeah, because these guys have archers as well. Yeah, let's summon them. There we go. A big, nasty group of awful creatures. That should do the job, and now we can start plinking away at him. Oh, he's an armored enemy. Alright, so that's not as effective. Also, that magician is horribly murdering my stuff, which I'm not really a big fan of. Might want to try and move over here. But yeah, like, I don't think the theme complaint is really all that big a deal. It's more down to the idea that perhaps more could be done with it. It just really seems a little bit pasted on in that respect, but not every game has to completely take advantage of every aspect of the theme. If someone wanted to make a platformer that's about cute animals, you wouldn't complain when every single aspect of that game wasn't entirely tied into being cute animals. Yeah, I suppose it's just it's a little pedantic on my part, I suppose. If I wanted to complain about anything, it would be things like the frame rate. You know, the game has almost no options, and it runs at 30 frames per second, but it is a turn-based tactical battle game. The frame rate is not really that important, and the mouse control is quite precise. This definitely looks like the kind of game that could be done on a mobile device, but surprisingly enough, it's really, really well mouse-driven and works exactly how I would hope it would. We really want to kill that Death Slayer, if possible. Can we get rid of that before we lose this group? Yeah, that would be great. And now we're overwhelmed by homunculi, but never mind. Maybe shoot off one more. Yeah, let's throw something at it before our guy dies, and he will. Actually, maybe he won't. Yes, he will. Okay. Screw it! Let's go with the Revenant King. Let's bring ourselves into battle. Let's go with it. Why not? We haven't actually tried that yet. So I can summon Undead. And then attack from a distance with magic. Multicast. That's not very nice. Where can I unlock that? That would be good. chop this into tiny little pieces, and then we can finish this off. So it might be quite simple, but it's reasonably charming, and it's got a decent amount going on for it if you're just looking for a really quick battle game. Clerics, alright. Are our guys any good against clerics? I can't actually recall. Probably not. Alright, so militia are really easy to kill with this group. We do additional damage to militia, so I can just try and clear him out. You know, it's a kind of neat... You know, what's sort of a neat idea I'm noticing is that the heroes can find treasure chests and items to upgrade themselves, but I can't. Because, of course, I'm the dungeon. Why would I have the ability to do that? That would be a bit ridiculous. So that's kind of nice. That's thematic. Ow! Alright, can we horribly murder him now? Let's throw a extra undead creature out. Ow. Please stop killing me. Apparently that is too much to ask. We should be able to finish him off, though. There we go. So no, I actually don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I'd be interested to see how much more complex it can get. And how much depth it has outside of just, hey, here's an upgrade to get. Isn't that nice? A new champion has joined the heroes. Okay, well, that's not good, is it? That's... Okay, we can upgrade... What do we want to do? Upgrade the wraiths? I like the wraiths. I think they're pretty good. They have that AoE damage. And they get now additional damage and lifesteal, so let's upgrade them. Sounds reasonable. A new champion appears. A charismatic, agile champion by the name of Sir Ambercatcher. Alright then. So what's in the Hall of Champions then? Oh, okay, so that just gives you information on the current heroes you're having to fight. Retrieve the Book of Flesh. Of course. Why would we not want to do something along those lines? Alright, let's spawn the wraiths. It seems like they randomize the stats every time, and I imagine that's because of reroll choices. So they give you access to all of your groups, but they give them a random modifier. So in this case, my Flesh and Bones group is weaker than usual. My wraiths are actually quick, so they gain +1 initiative and movement range, so they activate first. Greybeard is cursed. The first minion to kill in this group will return as a skeletal warrior. That's nice, you know, that gives the game a nice little bit of variety. You're never quite sure what's going to happen. Alright, can I hit everybody? If I move here... Will that hit out? Because it hits everyone around them, doesn't it? There we go. That's pretty good. That is a really, really, really powerful creature. No objection to that. And I can move all the way over here and... Oh, can I destroy the treasure chest? Oh! You can get the stuff yourself. Interesting. I just wasn't able to do that prior to this, simply because of how far away the treasure chest was. So you can have it yourself. Neat. So my wraiths now have +12 armor. So I imagine they're going to be very, very tricky to kill. So rushing for the chest seems like it might be an option, although you don't know exactly what's in it. Alright, now we're fighting ghouls, so I assume this is a group that I will then get. Yeah, I mean, in that case, I couldn't get there at all. That was impossible, but it's nice when you can do that. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's summon another skeleton. We got the AoE damage going on here, so that's good. Summon yet another skeleton, why not? Whatever works. Yeah, despite the fact that this game doesn't have a great deal of depth, I'm actually finding it surprisingly enjoyable. It's just a nice little blast of turn-based tactics action that is not really too taxing. And the idea of having randomly rolled stats and abilities on each of my groups every time is sort of forcing me to not use the same group every time. Which I think is a nice little piece of design. Because otherwise, I'd maybe, like, upgrade my favorite group a bunch of times and just use those constantly. But maybe he comes in and has a really nasty debuff or something along those lines, and I don't necessarily want to do that. Ah, so we're fighting a sort of boss character now. What is this book? What is that all about? Interesting. Can I zap it? No. Okay. Let's try to blow up the ghoul then. I actually can't move that far. Alright. Never mind. Smack him about here instead, then. I think my wraith might be in a little bit of trouble here. I imagine that's... Yeah, that must just be the Book of Flesh. I probably can't activate it until afterwards. I was just wondering if it was something that I could grab right now and use, but evidently not. This is kind of charming. You know? Actually, you know, the behemoth, I suppose, is maybe the closest comparison in terms of the aesthetic. It looks a little bit like a behemoth game. A little bit Alien Hominid, a little bit Castle Crashers. Whoa! Neat, new stuff. Greybeard gained a new command, summon undead. Choose another reward. Flesh Golem! Yes! Of course! I want that giant thing. Yes. I want to try that out now. Retrieve the artifact. Okay, let's go do that then. And we're going to summon a Flesh Golem. It is evil! Minions in this group are so evil they gain an additional 3 threat when they're summoned. Good versus large groups. Yeah. Here we go. There's a Flesh Golem. Can we grab that treasure chest? We don't quite have the movement speed. Oh, yes we can. Axe of the Creator plus 11 damage. It's a shame he's about to get horribly murdered, but never mind. He will get to play around with something before his inevitable demise. He's lived a good life. Ow. Alright, so let's whack something around with this Flesh Golem. So if I recall correctly, this had some kind of poison AoE. I think it's already activated, actually. It seems to activate every turn. Oh, Ghoul, come on. I want you to have a chance at life. Or death. Undeath, I suppose. Oh, I never got to use the damn item. It's kind of a shame, I suppose, that the items aren't persistent, but I don't really mind them being sort of these little temporary power-ups. Especially since you don't know what they are. If you can rush a little guy ahead and grab an item, suddenly he can become an absolute monster out of nowhere, which I think is a neat little feature. Yeah, this isn't a bad little time, honestly. You know, it's pretty casual, no doubt. Not particularly in-depth. Very, very simplistic mechanics. It's just move and hit, move and hit, move and hit, but I like how quick the battles are. I like the amount of variety there is in terms of the battles and the creatures that you can summon and the fact that they don't play the same way every time, and it is kind of neat to be able to play the bad guy even if it really doesn't necessarily matter that you're playing the bad guy, I suppose. Plus, I have a Flesh Golem. How could I possibly complain in a situation like this? The only thing I'd like better than this would be a cave troll at this point. Everybody's poisoned and they're dying a hideous death. It's wonderful, really. There you go. Have some of that. Ah, I'll play more of this. If I'm tired, if I'm having a day where I've done far too much and there's too much stressful nonsense, I could go into the dungeon and murder a few heroes and not really have to think too hard about it. And there's a place for games like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be hugely complex. And considering how turn-based games often take so much time, it's really refreshing to have one that doesn't. So Reverse Crawl isn't too bad, actually. Pretty cheap, too. It's about $6, or your regional equivalent. Might want to give it a shot for that price. My name's been TotalBiscuit, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.